This is a question from Avery.
Hi, Avery.
Okay.
Oakley, you're young.
Okay. I'm listening to the episode where Mel talks about her daughter's love life dilemma with Kendall. And I have immediate request for an episode. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I want her to feel comfortable talking to me about these kinds of issues when she's in college. So here's the pitch. How do you raise kids who share information about their lives with you? Can you give people a tool that you could use? Like, is there a takeaway?
I think that the tool that you can use is a warm and excited and interested invitation to asking your kids about their life and showing genuine interest in their life. And I think that in that interest, it like makes your kids want to tell you more in an authentic way.
But I also want to say that I think continuing to ask and continuing to be interested, continuing to be welcoming is very important. But if they are not like receptive, don't take that as just never asking again. I think continue to ask, continue to be interested, but there are times in life when they will not want to tell you, and you need to be respectful of that. And I think it's when parents often overstep and won't stop asking and have to know that.
So that's a great point, is that a parent can comfortably be okay with not hearing anything in response.
Yes.
Just keep asking.
That silence does not need to be misinterpreted as deafening and that there's something wrong, but just that.
Because asking lets them know we're here. We want to listen. We love you.
I have a question from Indre, who has a 3.5-year-old, and she's worried that she's going to screw up her kids by saying something or doing something wrong. And she wants to know, how do you not do that? And I just want to take a stab at this, because I think one of the things that Dad and I have done well is we have screwed up. We have said things wrong, and we are not perfect, but we're really fast and good at apologizing and taking responsibility for the things that we do wrong, or the things that we realize we regret in hindsight, or for doing things that may have hurt your feelings. I think that that's like, if you realize you're just a good person and you're doing the best that you can with whatever you got in terms of your own issues, and you're quick to take responsibility for them, I think it does show that you're open and that you're human and that you're trying. And I don't know.
I agree. Dad, do you have
Next
anything
question.
to say about that?
Yeah, I think that there's, I mean, transparency is big, and sort of leading by your own example and us being willing to share what's so about us, I think it's a good example that can only help in maybe a child wanting to do the same back towards their own parents. But it is fascinating to, even in this conversation, to be hearing about like things that we might think we did well or didn't do well, and you having a completely different interpretation about that.
Yeah.
Because you're naturally at a different age and have a different perspective. And anyway, it sort of makes me think this is all well and good, and ages and differentiation, like that's things are going to get misinterpreted along the way.
Yeah. Another big thing, Indre, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Beautiful name, by the way. Is honest communication. Like, as parents, be in honest communication with each other, and with your kids, be in honest communication. Like,
What does that mean?
Telling them what's going on, telling them about your day, making sure, like, I feel like you guys were so open and honest in your communication with us, and you would always tell us what was going on or why something was happening, or if we asked a question, you would always tell us. And I think that watching you two be honest with one another, like, inspires us to want to be honest with you. And another thing too, like, under the umbrella of honest communication is like I have so many vivid memories of like growing up as a family, like sitting around the fireplace or sitting at dinner or sitting like gathering. Like you guys made such a conscious effort, whether you know it or not, to gather us as a family and to just talk about literally whatever it may be, with fireplace, wood, evergreens, mint, food, our love lives, whatever. Like you made such a conscious effort to like gather us together and get us all talking and communicating with one another, that like there were so many times when I was like, I don't want to fucking talk to you guys for 40 minutes at the end of dinner. I want to go play Polly Pockets upstairs and do other clothes. But
Me and Kendall, yeah.
but now that I'm at my age, it's like those are the memories that I cherish the most, and those are the moments that I look forward to the most, which are like the rabbit hole conversations we get down, because I think as kids, I'm trying to stay on track with the question, but like making a conscious effort to like talk to your kid and like making it like a ritualistic thing where like you talk to them after dinner or you're talking to them in the car, and like whether they like it or not, or whether they're showing they don't like it at that point, and maybe they won't, but like I think that they'll really appreciate that in the long run, because I know we all did.
I think though, like under the umbrella of honest communication, I think a massive part of that is vulnerability. Because I think watching my mom and dad grow up, like literally I've seen my dad and my mom cry and break down and not be strong and tell us what's going on in their life, how traumatic it is, how sad, how frustrating, how simple it may be, and absolutely like be on the ground sobbing, which I think for a kid is a little bit jarring at first to witness like your most idolized person as your parent be weak. But I think that watching our parents sit at the dinner table and bawl their eyes out because work didn't go well that day, or because they had a hard conversation with a friend, and being completely open and honest about it, just essentially made that possible for all of us to do the same.
That's really big. I think when you guys talk about honest communication, most adults forget that kids are truth tellers. And you also are lie detectors. And so when you say honest communication, what you're saying is you trusted us because what we were saying matched your felt experience.
in your actions.
In our actions. And I also think we tried very much to make sure that if either one of us were truly upset or frustrated or disappointed or sad, that you knew that it wasn't about you, that it was something going on in our lives, that you were not to blame for negative emotions that we were feeling. Is that true?
Yes, you were very outspoken about that. When like you would be in a bad mood or something, you would make sure, like even like the first thing you would say, I feel like when you would come in the room, is this is not about you, like this has to do with something else, and then you would continue to be a bitch, but it's fine.
We did do all right if the firstborn is actually saying that stuff. Normally it would just be the thirdborn that would pick up on that.
I love you guys.
I love you too. All right, here's another one. Now let's go to older kids, because I think most people are now like, because so far the takeaway for me is seek connection. Because people are going to want to know the how. Like we're talking conceptually.
No, seek connection over correction is so big. So big. You will correct your kids through connecting with them.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And
I'm not a parent, but
Be vulnerable.
if you want your kids to be open with you, you have to model being open with them. And that doesn't mean sharing inappropriate things. Because I don't think you guys should have access to or know like the details about our marriage. Like that's for Dad and I.
Thank God.
And so I feel like you have to model openness. You have to talk about what's going on in your life. You have to talk about your feelings. You've got to show your feelings.
I think that you guys showing that like at times you are weak shows that you're human, and like makes, I don't know, like it gives us more space to do that too. 'Cause like okay, I'm going to stutter for a second until I get to what I'm saying, but like in being weak, in crying in front of us, like I think so many parents are so just try to look so strong and perfect in front of their kids all the time, but it's like by showing your kids that like you guys are also human, like allows your kids to feel those things too as they start to grow up.
I also think, like, I know so many of my friends till this day as a 23-year-old, a lot of them have been like, I've never seen my parents cry ever. And I think, and not saying that you need to walk downstairs and bawl your eyes out every goddamn day, but like, I just think that not showing your true emotion to your kids is sad and not real life, honestly.
Yes.
And I think that hiding that away from your kids and putting on a smile every single day makes a kid feel like they can't have a bad day.
I also think that a lot of parents think they got to keep the stiff upper lip and they got to stay strong and they got to like be the one in charge because that's going to make the kids feel safe. And I actually think when you see your parents being human, it makes you know that you can count on them to be honest with you and that you can count on them to tell you,
Totally.
yeah, what's going on.
It's like honest feeling and communication. Like,
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
But takeaway, don't be a dictator, just be vulnerable.
Yeah. Connection over correction. I want to do some rapid fire questions.
I think this is a question for the both of you.
wait, no, I actually have an answer.
So you're saying in these conversations that we were having as you were growing up, you had that sense of feeling heard.
Yes.
Absolutely.